Welcome. This is Department Turnovers training video. This series we're going to talk about refinishing bathtub. I've got today with us Henry Romero, one of our top guys. He's going to be doing the work today for us, being part of the video. This is a standard truck that our refinishers have that they use every day. Inside is contained all of the product, the paint, the tools, all the equipment used, and we're going to go through the step-by-step process on how we refinish a tub. Okay, now we're inside the unit. We're getting ready to do step one, which is inspect the tub. We're going to look for any damage that may be in the tub. We're going to check out some critical areas. So come on inside and let's take a look. Okay, so as you can see, this tub is in really good condition from some of the ones that we usually reglaze. You can see here where they had a bath mat in place. You can see the discoloration. You can see the different kind of rectangular, triangular marks from the bath mat. You can see where it's done some damage here, where it's actually down into the paint. So this is going to be one of the areas that we're going to need to concentrate our work on. Some of the critical areas usually in tubs that we see all the time are, there's bubbling, there's chipping of the paint, that sort of thing. There's sag marks or run marks. So what we're looking for is around the drain. In the tub is usually you get a lot of cracking. That's one of the critical areas that we're always going to take a look at. There's the overflow cap, which usually tends to have a lot of paint chipping. That's a critical area that we're always working on. And then usually when I say sag marks, really run marks, you'll see run marks where too much paint has been applied on the walls of the tub. So sometimes you can't see them, but you can feel them. So if you run your hand across the wall of the tub, you'll be able to feel those sag or run marks. Those are sanded out to take care of that issue. The caulk looks like it's in really good shape. We will put another layer of caulk on top of that after we're finished, and it's going to give it that clean, fresh look when we're done. So we're gonna get this thing started. It shouldn't take us very long. The tub is in really great shape, and I'll see you in a minute. Welcome back. My main man, Henry Romero, our top refinishing guy here at Apartment Turnovers. I want you to see some of the things Henry uses every day. Henry, this is what? This is our compressor for your cup sprayer.
Yeah, cup spraying.
Okay, so this is our low volume, high pressure compressor with the hose system that goes to the cup sprayer. We'll show you the cup sprayer a little bit later when we go outside. Henry's going to mix up the paint ratios. We'll bring it back in. We'll show you how it's hooked up. Henry has a paint suit, I think, that you use all the time.
All the time. Don't get.
So look at Henry. He looks great, right? So he puts the paint suit on, does all that. He used the paint suit when he did the prep inside, so he didn't get any chemical on his clothes. So that's worn by pretty much every refinisher, but again, it's optional, it's up to them. Henry uses it, I used to use it.
Safety first, you know.
And safety first. Great idea, Henry, good idea. What else you got, Henry? What else do you use?
And I have this bag, you know, to carry my stuff. Every day, you know.
Henry's got paper towels. He carries a lot of the chemical cleaners in there. Any tools he uses to fix the tub. You know, you saw the orbital sprayer earlier, sandpaper. He uses his respirator. I think you have two types of these, right, Henry? This is the first type. What do you use this for?
For cleaning.
The cleaning, like preparing the tub for spraying.
Yeah, before spraying, you know.
Right, so and it's also when he uses the chemicals to clean, he can't, it's a charcoal based filter system, so you can't smell anything in, so it's fantastic. Tell us a little bit about this, Henry. What does this do? This looks like it's our extractor fan. So Henry will probably, when he goes to actually do the spraying of the paint or the primer, Henry puts it in the doorway, he turns it on, and what it does is any overspray that's created inside the bathroom or the smell, right? It collects it, it puts it into the system, and actually you can't see it, but this hose is probably, or a plastic bag, probably goes about 100 and some feet. It goes right outside the sliding glass door and it's blown outside. So that's another safety feature. So it gets it out of there, reduces a lot of the overspray, throws it out. Plus, there are neighbors that live around here. It reduces the smell, like Henry was saying. So we're doing this. This is an unoccupied unit. We use these in every unit. It's occupied or unoccupied. Exactly. So it's a great help, and all of our guys use it. Tell me about your mask over here, Henry. What is this mask?
This is full face mask.
Okay.
I use it when I start spraying, you know, because it's just really good stuff, you know.
So this mask is used differently from the other masks. So this mask is when you're usually doing a primer coat and a finished spray coat for the paint, correct?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, now we're back. Step 2 and step 3 are they go together in the refinishing process. As you can see, let's say step 2 is the actual prep work. Today's job is being done by Henry Romero, one of our top refinishers. If you can take a look around, you can see what Henry's done. We've taped off the mirror, we've taped off the countertop, the tub area is done, the water closet or toilet, that's completely taped off. This particular thing we're doing is, since this is only a tub that we're shooting and not the tub and surround, Henry has taped off 1 foot up of the tub all the way around. You can see where Henry has taped nice straight horizontal lines with the tape. What that does is it gives us a really nice straight finish after we finish doing the paint, the primer and the paint. When we remove this, you'll see later on how well and crisp the lines look, which really separates us a lot from other vendors. Henry has taped off the overflow valve top there. It's stainless steel. can see he's taped off the drain. We never want to paint that. If we do, you know, that's another area that causes problems. It kind of gives us the go back. Henry has wiped everything down, cleaned it out, he serviced the bottom. Everything is pretty much taped off. We're good to go. Another thing I like what Henry did here, he used a tarp to cover up the large surface area of the floor. If you remember from earlier, the floor was a wooden floor. You can see that there. You don't want to tape off the whole floor. That's really a waste of material. So a great idea that Henry had was, let's put the tarp down. We're going to cover up a big area with the tarp. That way none of the overspray gets on the surface. That's a critical thing, is to stay away from the overspray. We want to minimize the callbacks. So prepping the job, taking the time to do it the right way, the first way, like Henry's done, is the apartment turnover way. Everything looks good here. I think the only thing left to do is I would like to show you some of the tools that Henry uses. That's outside here. Then we're gonna meet up with Henry. We're gonna go over the paint mixtures, the ratios. That'll all be done outside of the truck. We don't usually do any mixtures inside here. We do everything in the truck, just in case of a spill or anything like that. It's taken care of outside, and it's much easier to clean up. So, looks like everything's good. Henry's did a fantastic job. One thing I forgot to talk about was the rubber gloves. On the faucet, rubber glove on the overhead shower head, okay? That is critical. If there's a leak or a drip, that has to get contained, because water is not our friend, okay? So by doing this, it basically eliminates any accidental water leaks, or if there's a drippy faucet. It gets caught in the glove, gives our product to dry and cure the proper amount of time. We will probably actually leave here, leaving those two gloves in place for the cleaners to take off, just in case we don't have leaks. So that's part of the process. I don't see anything else here that Henry missed. It looks good. So why don't we go outside and we're going to take a look at some of the things that he uses. Okay. So here we're back with Henry. These are what we call cup sprayers right here. These are the guns that we use and the cups that we use. Henry has two guns, and all of our refinishers actually have two guns. The first cup sprayer that he's going to use is, we're going to put together the primer for the tub upstairs. So we use one cup for the primer, we use one cup for the actual paint and the finished product when we spray it. So usually what our refinishers do is they'll do both at the same time. That way they can go up with both. There's like very limited time between sprays, between primer and the actual finished coat. So Henry's going to probably go through the process. He's going to give you the ratios that we use at ATI in both the primer and the paint portion. So I'm going to go ahead and let Henry take it away and tell you exactly what portions he uses.
Okay, this is catalyst for primer. I put it first.
Okay. Right. So 50% of primer. So half of this is going to be catalyst. And then this is actually...
Right, you have to shake it really good.
Henry, is all our primer color the same color?
Yes, the same.
Okay, so every primer
has
every primer we have the catalyst,
catalyst,
shake,
yep,
before you use, and every primer color is our base color, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, it's beige. Henry is stirring up the mixture. You can see that it's all together. He goes back and forth. It's nice and clean. There are no lumps. So we're in good shape on the primer. Usually with the primer, Henry says that you don't want to let this sit for anything more than 15 to 20 minutes because what it'll do, it'll start separating again. And if that happens, it sinks down to the bottom. We'll have to re-stir it again before we actually use it to go ahead and shoot and prime the tub. So with that mixed, Henry's ready to go ahead and put his gun together.
Make sure this is really clean, you know.
So your check valves?
Yeah, check valves, everything, if it's okay, before to put it and then before to go ahead on the unit.
Yep. So paint is a little bit different, Henry, right?
Yeah, different.
So the ratios on the paint are a little different. So this is which? Is this the catalyst?
Catalyst.
Okay. So here we're gonna do what, Henry? What would you say? 40%?
40% of catalyst and 40% paint.
Okay, so 40% catalyst, 40% paint, and then what would get us that extra 10%? What would we add for that last?
Xylene.
Okay, so we're going to use a final product of xylene.
Yeah, this is the paint.
Okay, so that's our paint resin, which is a China white?
Yeah, China white.
Okay, so we're going to shake that up just like we did the primer. Okay, so now we have both the catalyst, the paint, and just like we did with the primer, we give it a good mix. So now we got about 80% of our product where we want to be as far as the paint goes. Once this gets done, Henry's going to show you what we add in as it acts as two things. Number one, it's a thinner, and it also gives us the shine that every complex wants. They want a full gloss, high shine on their tubs. So we're using xylene. Xylene is that 10% additive into that final paint cup. That gets stirred in. Usually, Henry's been with us so long, he knows the ratios. He can eyeball it and pour it in. Generally, some of the new guys that we have, we supply them with some cups, which are defined as in so many ounces, and really they pour it into the cup that you can't make a mistake, and it's really an exact science. So you pour in your ratios with the cups, you put it in, you mix it up like Henry's doing, and then you're ready to go. So all we're doing is missing that part of it. Henry's been doing it for such a long time, he can eyeball it. But generally, some of the new guys, they just go ahead and we provide them with the cups, and so they get the ratios correct. So like this, Henry's checking it, he's stirring it, he's making sure it's nice and mixed well. And then once that's done, we'll take it upstairs and we'll show you the process of actually Henry painting.